Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago. Following the fatal St. Augustine police shooting of her partner, Joshua Samaru, authorities plan to lay 4 more weapons charges against Kaya Seeley. They only finding a whole set of different charges to lay against this woman, bringing her total to 8 now. Seeley already faces warrants for manslaughter and shooting at officers. But the new offenses include possession of a firearm, possession of ammunition, possession of a firearm to endanger life, and discharging of a firearm near a public space. As somebody made a meme yesterday and said just now they will charge her for the 1990 attempted coup as well. Maybe even the 9/11 attacks in America. Who knows? The way the TTPS going, the way the TTPS going is quite comical. It's evil, but it's comical as well. These warrants will be executed when Seeley returns from the United States, where she is receiving medical care for paralysis caused by the shooting. She didn't run from Trinidad. She didn't try to escape justice. A matter of fact, from what she said, and the TTPS cannot deny it up to now, she was given permission to go because you know why she was told she was not under investigation? How come the police told her she's not under investigation if they really did find a gun in the car? That making sense to any of you UNC fanatics outside here? You all have to be so ashamed of the UNC right now. The additional charges have sparked intense public backlash as home security video shows Samaru surrendering before police opened fire, while law enforcement maintains that Seeley shot at officers first using a hidden Glock pistol. It was so hidden that nobody could even see the gunshots going in their direction. They manipulated that video, people. They manipulated that video. They zoomed in so you could not see when the bullet exited the front of the car on the windscreen. In the original video, see it clearly. Went in through the side window and exited through the windscreen. That's what happened. But you all don't want to believe the truth because all is studying right now is Kamala to support Kamala no matter what. Unconditional support for Kamala. Unconditional support for Kamala and the TTPS. What is taking place right now is evil and it's disgraceful. It's sad. It's sad to see the party that I have voted for my entire life stooping to this type of level. My response, has the TTPS ever taken so long to charge someone with these serious crimes? Was she ever fingerprinted or tested for gunshot residue? Thus far, a significant online source has stated that neither action was taken, and yet we are supposed to simply believe everything that is being told to us by members of the TTPS. That making sense to any of you UNC people outside there? Have you ever heard of that before? They found there was a shootout between police and criminals, so-called criminals, and yet they did not fingerprint Kaya Seeley. They did not test her for gunshot residue. But yet you all still believe this whole story 4 months later, or a few months, whatever amount of, about 4 months later. You're really falling for that? How on earth that making any kind of sense, people? It is not. That is not what usually takes place. She would have been immediately tested for gunshot residue, at least even not immediately on the site. You know, if they wanted to save lives. But she would have definitely been tested in the hospital, and the doctors would not have been allowed to clean her up or anything like that until she was tested for gunshot residue. And also the fingerprinting, not to mention, police don't ever allow you to go abroad if it is, they suspect that you are the one that shot at them. Not once we saw any police officer trying to evade any gunshots. Not once we saw any police officer trying to go and run for cover. But they're bawling that she shot at them. That does not make sense. You all are making me so embarrassed at the UNC right now, boy. How come the original video shows the first bullet exiting the car through the windshield? Why is the Prime Minister defending this level of evil and deception? She's standing with the police, so don't come in no comment section. I mean, they could still come. But what I'm saying is, don't come and tell me, oh, I put in words in the Prime Minister's mouth. The woman is defending the police. She says she's standing with the police, with the rough men who go out and fight on our behalf. That is what she's doing. And demonizing the protesters and making it look as though it's political. Making it look as though it's political. Young people, the young lady said, Alyssa said, Madam Prime Minister, you have potential. but she's calling for justice for her friend and her deceased, and also for the deceased Joshua Samaru. And you balling that it's political mischief people causing. When we had protests under, when Emperor Thanos Rowley under the Mighty Morphin Ghanaian Coal Pot Bicycle PNM, when we were protesting with the pushback movement, were we causing mischief, Madam Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessor? This is what you call hypocrisy. David Welch, when you were part of the pushback movement, were you causing mischief, you hypocrite? Huh? Boy, I'm telling you, we living in real evil times, you know. Real evil times when people are not afraid to be deceivers, to be blatant liars, to be complete hypocrites. And I'll conclude with this, but this section of the news report, I'll conclude with this. Just like I did just now in my short update. Madam Prime Minister, what you are doing is destroying the United National Congress. What you're doing is ensuring that in 2030, we will no longer even be, the party will no longer even be a viable option as an opposition party. You're going to make most of your base is going to abandon the party. I personally know UNC supporters, East Indian UNC supporters, who are totally upset with what you have been doing and what you continue to do. I'm telling you, your online supporters are a minority. All they care about is just blindly supporting the UNC. You see how PNM lost 1/3 of their base? You might end up losing 2/3. And you may not get enough to even be able to win any kind of significant amount of seats to have an opposition party. You may not even win 1 seat in 2030. This needs to stop. And I am beseeching, I'm begging, I'm asking Monilal. I haven't heard any comments from you when it pertains to this issue thus far. I don't know. I believe there are a lot of UNC members that don't like what Kamala is doing. They don't like her sudden transformation from a mother of the country into a different type of mother, a stepmother, and a mother something that I wouldn't say. But you know what? A mother something. That is what she's becoming, a mother something. Right? I honestly believe there are a lot of UNC members that don't like what Kamala is doing to her party and our country. I'm begging all of you, take a stand. Monilal, I'm begging you. I don't know if it is I end up here and you're supporting Kamala, well then I will stop begging you as well. But for now, I'm begging you, Monilal. Take a stand. You're an elder in the party. Take a stand. Call for a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Do it now. Don't wait until 2030. Because by 2030, the UNC has no chance of ever being a viable option in this country again. Do it now. Call for a vote of no confidence. We can still keep the UNC in government. We can still keep the UNC in government unless Kamala is so vindictive that she calls for an election, because she doesn't have to call for an election. She doesn't have to call for an election, right? She can resign. And if she resigns just like how Rowley resigned, the president will have the privilege or the authority to choose another leader, just like how she chose with Zami Young. But in the case of Zami Young, he wasn't the political leader. But if Kamala resigns from both her leadership role in the party and as prime minister, the president will have all rights in order to be able to appoint someone else within the majority party, which is the UNC, to govern our nation. So when you are calling for a vote of no confidence in Parliament to remove the Prime Minister, try to find a way, if it has a legitimate way in the United National Congress Constitution, to remove her as political leader as well. Save our country and save the UNC, Monilal, or any other elders in the United National Congress that do watch my videos, because I know. You wouldn't share it, but I know there are UNC people outside there that watch my news reports. I am begging y'all, save the party and save the country. Call for a vote of no confidence in Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessor. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service stated that a planned protest outside the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in support of Kaya Sealy was not authorized. The thing about it is, from what we used to hear even under from opposition members back in the day when Emperor Thanos Rowley was the ruler of TNT. We used to hear that you don't need permission to actually gather as long as you're not going to march, as long as you're not going to make any big set of noise and stuff like that. But you can gather. All you have to do is notify the police that you are going to gather in a particular place. What you need permission for is to be able to march and stuff like that. But the police, whether it's under PNM or UNC, they just love to abuse the authority. TTPS officials stated that no one asked for or received permission for the assembly, and they deployed officers to the site to block the gathering. Protest organizer Alyssa Phillip was arrested by the police along with her mother during a demonstration on Sackville Street in Port of Spain, standing up for her own constitutional rights, and was arrested. Reminds you of what took place under the PNM? Yeah, but UNC was supposed to be different. The police treated the gathering outside the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions as unauthorized, even though Phillips stated she gave proper legal notice for a peaceful standstill. And Kamala, instead of coming out and defending the young people, made it look as though what they did was wrong because they were in a zone that they shouldn't have been. She did say, though, that you can protest, but in whatever zones. Did she come out when she was opposition leader and tell the pushback movement not to go by the DPP office or not to go by the police administration office? Hey, Kamala, you ever did that? While you were opposition leader, I'm telling you, this woman is a deceiver at a whole different level, boy. Rowley was evil, but Rowley's twin, Kamala, my lord. Public anger has grown since the DPP ordered police to charge Kaya Seeley with manslaughter and gun offenses following a January 20th police shooting that left Seeley paralyzed and a partner dead. Protesters strongly deny the police claims that Seeley fired at officers, and they are now demanding the resignation of Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara. I am calling for the resignation of Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara, resignation of Roger Alexander, resignation of Philip Edward Alexander, resignation of John Jeremy as well. And at this point in time, I keep saying it over and over again, call for a vote of no confidence in the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Enough is enough. This woman deceived us. She told us she was coming here to make us win. All we are winning is insults just like that we got from Rowley and abuse just like under Rowley. My response, the TTPS used that same authorized narrative under the mighty Morphin Ghanaian Coal Pot Bicycle autocratic governance under the PNM. But back then, UNC activists used to make it clear that notification alone is needed unless you intend to march while protesting. Before I go on, I sent a voice message to Andy Williams, a man who usually genuinely loves his people. Andy Williams of the Ground Report, I know that you ended up getting a backup coverage on a radio station, and I was very happy for you all. I don't really, because of certain things in the past, I don't actually basically listen to your show anymore. At times still, I might listen to it for a little while. Not to mention, I record my videos on a morning, so I don't really have time in order to listen to your 2-hour, I think it's even more than 2-hour show. It's about a 3-hour show. I don't have the time to listen to it anyhow. Right? But I still do listen at times, right? But I don't really usually contribute. I sent you a message last night. It wasn't really intended to end up being played on the show today. I don't know if it ended up being played. But Andy Williams, I'm calling on you to take a stand. If it ends up costing you your position or your contract with the state-owned media, radio station, then so be it. Stand up for the people. I listened to you. I reviewed your show later in the night when you and Lennox Smith was talking about the protesters and stuff like that, and even with the Kaya Seeley case. Boldly come out and stand with the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Boldly come out and condemn the United National Congress for what they are doing right now. Boldly come out and condemn Kamala Persad-Bissessar for what she's doing as well, the same way how you would have done with Rowley. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Continue to stand up for the people. You see, even Ian Allen, somebody that I've had so much issues with in the past, you even see that Ian Allen is realizing that something is going wrong. Andy Williams, you have been a fighter for the people of Trinidad and Tobago for years. Don't end up selling out like the rest of them. Don't end up betraying the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago for 30 pieces of silver. I am begging you, Andy Williams. I don't even know much about Lennox Smith, but you see, you, Andy Williams, I'm begging you, I'm beseeching you. That is your show. That is your show. Take a stand. I wanted to say I attended some of those protests, which were organized by the Ground Report under the theme Pushback. There were a lot of pushback. I think I had pushback up until about pushback 4, pushback 5. I did not attend all, but I attended about 2. Sadly, I'm seeing a level of hypocrisy amongst UNC voters, which makes me feel sick and disgusted. I've never felt so ashamed in my life of a political party because I have voted for that party my entire life. I've always been ashamed about the PNM because I know what they have been from the very beginning. But the UNC, nah, never thought the UNC would have ever become what it is today. Pandey would have been like, oh Lord, Father, this is what you're doing to my party, Kamala. Just because the UNC is now in government, the narrative has changed from we have the right to peacefully protest to lock them up. The same people in them. The same people that rallied around Jason De Silva when the PNM was in office, demonizing him now. The same people that rallied around David Welch are now supporting him because he's no longer doing the same. David Welch not protested again because remember UNC in power. So they still defended him. But what I'm saying is, they defended him for protesting back then. But they wouldn't do that now, you know. If he decides to go and protest on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, they will demonize him as well. But it's the same people that defended him when he was protesting back then, when he got locked up over and over again. The UNC actually bailed him out, I used to tell you. But I tell you, we're living in a world and a time. The Bible said it always goes back to the Bible, and the Bible said that in the last days, people will consider good evil and evil good. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it. People are boldly lying. The Prime Minister lied to us, pretended as though she was going to be a mother to the nation. It turns out she ended up being a wicked stepmother and a mother something. ACP Northwest Sean Garvin Henry, together with officers of the Interagency Task Force, arrested demonstrator and social media personality Jason De Silva. I already said that just now, but I'm not just reading the report itself now. Minutes before a protest was expected to take place outside the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions at the corner of Richmond and Sackville Streets, Port of Spain. And he did nothing, He did nothing except actually use his rights to free speech. That's all he did, and they arrested him. The same thing that he was doing when Emperor Thanos Rowley was in office, and the UNC said, dictatorship, dictatorship. When Jason De Silva and that next one were arrested under Rowley. But now, you know, they're no longer calling dictatorship, you know. They're demonizing Jason De Silva instead. David Welch. When David Welch was arrested under the PNM, they supported him. They even bailed him out. Now, Jason De Silva is still standing up for the people, even though the UNC is in office, and they're demonizing him. I have my little issues with Jason De Silva, but I have my issues with a lot of people outside here. One thing I do admire about that man, he never sold out. He never sold out to anybody. He continues to stand up for whatever he believes in. I don't agree with everything he believes in. What I'm saying is, he never sold out. One thing you could say about Jason De Silva is he never sold out to anyone. My response just a few years ago, UNC supporters, including myself, used to be proud of both Jason De Silva and David Welch for standing up against the PNM tyrants and the demonic TTPS. But of course, a lot has changed since then. Queen Kamala is now reigning over TNT with an iron fist. So anyone who opposes her or the TTPS are now considered to be criminals. We are considered criminals. I am considered to be a criminal now, you know, because I oppose extrajudicial killings, which is a crime. I oppose police abuse of authority, which is a crime. I oppose the deception within the UNC government. The lies coming out from Kamala, Prime Minister Kamala. I'm suddenly a criminal because of that. I went on to say, God have mercy on all of you hypocrites who have proven to me that you never cared about justice or democracy. It was always about just politics, nothing else. I am so disappointed in the United National Congress. And a lot of my friends, my so-called friends online, who are UNC activists, turned out to be fanatics just like the PNM Patriots.
Weather report for Trinidad and Tobago on Thursday, May 28, 2026. The weather will be sunny, hazy, and breezy with a high temperature of 33 degrees Celsius and a low of 26 degrees Celsius. While the day will be mostly bright, you can expect a few partly cloudy breaks bringing isolated afternoon showers or thunderstorms. Data shows a high concentration of Saharan dust in the area, so please take precautions if you are sensitive to dusty air. Spring tides will also start on this day, creating rougher conditions along the coast. The temperature will feel like 35 degrees Celsius. Wind speed will be 10 to 45 kilometers per hour coming from the east. Humidity will be 65% to 85%. Seas will be moderate with waves up to 2.5 meters in open waters.
Regional news now, as Guyana marked its 60th independence anniversary on Tuesday. The country also marked a historic breakthrough in healthcare, having successfully facilitated the longest distance telesurgery procedure using advanced robotic technology. President Dr. Irfan Ali made the announcement on Tuesday during a press conference, stating that the achievement signaled the country's intention to become a regional leader in modern healthcare and medical training. That's the difference. And that's what tells me that even though we are living in the end times and evil will abound, there are still some good leaders outside there. Irfan Ali isn't perfect. But once again, and I'm just not talking on assumption, I remember when there was a controversy taking place about either last year or year before. And he actually held the police accountable for their actions and called for transparency and accountability within their police service in Guyana. He didn't defend them and talk about rough men going and defend the citizens of a nation. No. Called for accountability and transparency. That man is leading Guyana towards third world status. I don't know what Kamala is going to do, you know. I honestly don't know what Kamala is going to do here in Trinidad. Jamaica's Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says some advocates calling for additional oversight over the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority are driven by political interests and receiving funding for their activities. He said there are also a set of Jamaicans who don't want to see NARA succeed. It's not in their political interest for NARA to succeed, and we must call them out, he said at a post-cabinet news conference on Wednesday. When others say they hide under all kinds of names, claim to be parts of civil society, and they are not. That's exactly what the UNC actually doing, and they in government. They're using a whole set of fake pages right now. They are political activists, and we must call them by the name, and I stand here frankly and say that. He went on to say he defended the controversial NARA legislation, saying existing laws and institutions already provide the necessary standards to monitor the authority's operations. Recently, I Googled to find out about Andrew Holness and his political party. Do you know that he actually supports capitalism and supports conservative values? And unlike Kamala, he still to a great extent cares about the people and the rights of the citizens. Kamala gone from conservative to the dictatorship. Kamala is pretending to be a conservative. She ain't no conservative. She sounds a whole lot more like a socialist. But Andrew Holness is doing a reasonably good job. And I don't believe that he's perfect. And I believe there's room for a lot of improvement. But I believe thus far he's much better. He's a much better option to govern that country than the opposition.
Jamaica went through a period of time where it invested heavily in building out oversight and anti-corruption mechanisms. Jamaica, when compared to other countries in the region and even globally, has a very strong oversight and anti-corruption framework. Very strong. And we have recently strengthened that by empowering, standing up and resourcing the MOCA, because we don't pay enough attention to this other side of corruption and lack of oversight, things that are happening in the cyber world and organized crime. And that part of it, that's the most recent part, and they're doing very well in terms of ensuring that corruption does not impact the economy in a negative way. The Integrity Commission, they are doing their thing, and I don't speak about the Integrity Commission, so let me stop there. Then we have the PBMA, that is the Public Bodies Management Act, which is a very strong piece of legislation which governs how public bodies should conduct themselves. We have the FAA, which is the Financial Accounting and Administration Act. That one keeps not finding that one properly. The FAA, and then you have the Auditor General as well, and you have FID, and then policing all of that is the PAAC, that is the Public Appropriations and Accountability Committee, and headed by an opposition member. And then you have the PAC, right, which is also headed by an opposition member. So it's a very robust and comprehensive system of oversight and accountability. And then you're going to say to me now that when I set up a bill, I must now go and put in place another FAA. So the same provisions that are in the FAA and the PBMA that cut across all ministries and all legislation, I must go now and put those same things in this legislation. I must go and build another mechanism for the Auditor General, the FID, in other words, I must go and rebuild this again and create a very dense bureaucracy which we expect to move quickly. It doesn't make sense. If we invested in building out this very robust framework where we spend billions of dollars every year trying to guarantee the country accountability and probity, and then we go and do that again, the people who are recommended this don't have our best interest at heart. Don't. Let the systems that are in place, let them work. While the systems that are supposed to deliver speed and efficiency, let them work. But don't come to us and say we are going to have to build this architecture each time, over and over and over. That's why we're slow. You know, and it's not just Jamaica that is suffering from this. It's a global thing. You know, technocracy and bureaucracy are real. They have political interests. They are self-interested and vested. They get funding to do this. That's the hidden part of this that the country doesn't see. Nobody writes an article about that. And somehow everybody is so self-righteous to be the defenders when nobody's trying to defend the people who are in need of their homes quickly, the country needing growth. These things have to be said, and I say them unapologetically. And I'm prepared to tackle all of them who are going to come out of the woodwork to deal with my statements. I'm prepared to deal with you.
A new chapter in skills training and cultural exchange was marked yesterday with the official opening of the Batik Training Workshop held through a collaboration between the Dame Susan Dugan Foundation for Girls and the Embassy of Indonesia to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The workshop is expected to play an important role in national and economic development by equipping participants with creative and entrepreneurial skills in the traditional Indonesian art of batik making. Founder of the foundation, Dame Susan Dugan, delivered remarks during the opening ceremony where she emphasized the organization's ongoing commitment to empowering young women and supporting educational and developmental opportunities throughout the country. St. Vincent and the Grenadines as well is going in the right direction, while Trinidad was in trouble.
To date, the program has assisted over 200 students throughout St. Vincent. Now, it has been a journey because there were so many things we had to take into consideration before we can venture out on such a project. But in looking at the education landscape nowadays, we recognize that students are always, sometimes, and not saying it, in need for support. And this foundation really started because we do not like to publicize what we are doing. And I think the students who are involved here would like us to embrace, confidentiality as part of what we do.
The Barbados Agricultural Development and Marketing Corporation has launched a new web-based agricultural statistics platform designed to improve coordination within the farming sector and support efforts to reduce the island's food import bill, which is really important. I'm telling you, even Mia Motley doing good as Prime Minister, even though I do not agree with how she supports globalism and she stands in solidarity with communists, but she's doing good as a Prime Minister in her country. The platform will provide farmers, retailers, and policymakers with access to agricultural data, harvest forecasts, and market information aimed at strengthening local production and food security.
The Agri-Statistics platform, MIS platform, which we at the BNEMC have been developing in conjunction with the Ministry of Agriculture. Today we will give and showcase a little information on how that platform will work, who it will serve, and the benefits which we believe will accrue to not just the ministry, but to the general agricultural sector of the island. The focus, obviously, over the last few years has been about development of the platform and development of the space and the capacity to actually do more with the information that we have. I think for a long time we have essentially operated within silos, and this effort is really about bringing together the basis of information that we do already have in existence and working to actually make them available not just to the technocrats within the ministry, but also to the actual players within the industry, the farmers, the persons within retail and distribution who have a need for that information in order to actually make decisions.
The government of Bahamas is changing its Trusted Traveler program to help frequent business visitors. Finance Minister Michael Halkitis announced that the country will stop charging people a fee every single time they visit. Instead, frequent travelers will pay one flat fee just once a year. This program allows approved people to come to the island for up to 14 days without a work permit to attend meetings, conferences, or training. The new annual fee ensures that international business partners are not treated unfairly or forced to pay too much just for visiting the country often. That sounds like a wonderful policy to me. International news now. President Trump warns the U.S. is not satisfied with the current direction of Iran talks and insisted he will not sign a crummy agreement. During a cabinet meeting at the White House, President Trump implied the Iranian regime wants a deal very much, but negotiations still haven't reached the level he's demanding. The president also signaled a potential tipping point in the talks, saying he would not be comfortable with Iran exporting its highly enriched uranium to China or Russia. The problem is, Trump, you have been saying this for what, nearly a year now, right? You know that they're going to continue to say we want to talk, but yet they're not going to agree with the terms and conditions that you are setting for them. It is ridiculous for the Republicans continue to remain silent while you give people false promises. You always announcing that a deal is here, a deal is here. And then, bam, a few hours later, you hear the Iranians saying there's no deal. We are not giving up our uranium. We are not giving up our intentions to develop nuclear weapons. And then you come and say, oh, well, you see, we are not going to agree with this. And it's back and forth over and over again. Stop these games, Trump. It's either you don't want to finish the war, just go back home and leave Iran and let God deal with them, or finish the job. But stop playing these games. You cannot continue. The rest of the world is suffering because of this. Stop playing the games. Stop playing the games. Once again, it's either you finish the job or leave the people alone, man. Leave the people alone, but you cannot continue with what you are doing. You're tormenting the lives of the rest of people in the world. And even Israel is being, the rights to defend themselves is being infringed upon because you want to continue with these deals and deals and deals. Deals that will never end up being accepted by the terrorists in Iran. It needs to stop, Donald Trump. Get the job done or leave the people alone. Matthew Perry's living assistant has been sentenced to more than 3 years in prison for his role in the actor's ketamine overdose death. 60-year-old Kenneth Iwamasa admitted he injected Perry with the ketamine before the Friends star was found dead at his Los Angeles home in 2023. You were privy to his struggle and addiction, the judge told him before sentencing. Your conduct was reckless. And while people say, oh, it was Matthew Perry's choice, it doesn't matter. If someone wants to harm themselves, you don't assist them in doing so. You become complicit in the act, my dear people out there. I don't understand how people think in this world anymore. I really don't. The sentencing closes the final chapter in the nearly 3-year federal investigation into Perry's death. It was so sad. It really was sad. It was such a great and talented actor, such a wonderful personality. Where were his friends, though, all those years? Why was this man left to, probably, I don't know if he isolated himself or what. There should have been intervention. Whatever friend he had that was living with him betrayed him as well. You don't assist somebody that has an addiction to harm themselves, people. That is totally wrong, and it's sad.
Bible quote of the day. Proverbs 3:5-7. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.